Welcome to Criminal Proceedings, week 2, second week of Criminal Proceedings, trial proceedings in the Magistrates Court. This module will equip students with skills required to manage and conduct trial proceedings in the Magistrates Courts. So let me hope that we have now come to understand how criminal proceedings are conducted from the time of making police statements to the time of carrying out investigations by the police investigating officer, to the time of being charged of an offense, to the time of being aligned in court, and basically the time of taking plea or pre-taking. So because you have to understand all that process for purpose of passing the oral exams, but if you continuously read, of course you are going to understand it. The objective is to develop skills required among prospective advocates and judicial officers in the performance of various roles during full-blown civil trial proceedings in the administration of criminal justice in the magistrates courts. So basically this is what I was trying to talk about. If the accused has been brought to court and it's a process of pre-taking, how do you go about that? And of course you have the locus classicus case of Adan versus Al, which basically lays down a step-by-step process of how pre-taking is supposed to be done, from the time of inquiring which language the accused understands, to reading the facts and ingredients of the offense, requiring him to plead each offense, and then taking down the plea. Of course, if you want to understand more that, you have to read the case of Adan versus Al. It's very directive and conclusive. So the objective is to develop skills required among prospective advocates and judicial officers in the performance of various roles during full-blown civil trial proceedings and administration of criminal justice in the magistrates courts. So we have not moved to the High Court. So when we talk about magistrates courts, we are looking at charge sheet. So when we go to term 2 and we're looking at the High Court, we shall be looking at an indictment, and there we shall be looking at offenses tried by the High Court and also committal proceedings. But for this term, we're interested in trials in the magistrates courts. The coverage shall include preparation of legal memorandum, advising the DPP and giving guidance or directions to the police, the drafting of relevant court documents for the trial process in the magistrates court, the prosecution and defense of case before magistrates courts, illustration of DPP's powers and of exercise of prosecutorial discretion, and the conduct of a trial as a magistrate and exercise of supervisory powers of the chief magistrate's court. So we shall look at supervisory powers. We shall look at supervisory powers of the magistrates courts, and basically this will arise in instances where you find that the grade 1 magistrate erred in law. So where the grade 1 magistrate errs in law, then we proceed to do what? We proceed to go for supervisory powers of the chief magistrate's court. Police case file number 1. The aims of this workshop are to develop ability to prepare a legal memorandum, rendering advice on whether or not to prosecute a case, to develop ability to practice alternative dispute resolution of criminal matters, to develop ability to draft relevant documents in preparation for trial, to develop ability to prosecute or defend a case before magistrate's court, to develop ability to exercise the power of prosecutorial discretion, and identify and resolve issues. So at the end of this workshop, you should be able to prepare a legal memorandum advising on whether or not to prosecute a case. So we understand that under Article 120, the DPP has powers to withdraw a case where he finds that there is no adequate evidence to sustain the charge. So we shall also look at explore ADR mechanisms, draft relevant documents ready for trial, prosecute or defend a case before magistrate, and exercise the powers of the DPP. The complainant statement, Masana Basil, aged 45 years, which says that the Chief Administrative Officer of Mbale District Local Government. I have been working here for more than 7 years. I'm the head of administration and the accounting office of the district. I know about the Bufumbo Basana Road 24 kilometers and Namasubi Kwabagasa Road. These two road projects are government funded for some distant past 2 financial years. Roadmax Construction was contracted to construct the 2 roads. My concern is that I saw that the work that should have been commissioned by now are still incomplete. One time in July 2024, I accompanied officials from the Ministry of Local Government and members of Parliament on a site inspection. During the inspection, I saw that the road did deposit the design as per the approved design. Neither did it have a drainage, and yet there was no sign of continuing works on our road. The district engineer was the project manager who was responsible for overseeing the entire project, including planning, execution, and closing. When I returned to my office after the inspection, I decided to look at the progress reports. I noticed that the works were properly purportedly done and satisfied during the period when our equipment was non-operational. I wondered how the work could have been done. The project was actually not complete, but all the money was paid and accounted for. I noticed that my signature was also indicated in the authorization forms accompanying the engineer's certification in the period when the equipment was in use to divert money. I decided to pass the documents to audit and police for further analysis. This is a serious case of theft. I also gave a brief to the auditors that that is why I decided to report this case. That's what I can say for now. So basically here we are looking at crimes under the Anti-Corruption Act, abuse of office. Also we can also abuse of office. We can also have misuse of government funds. So Mr. Spell, those offenses under the Anti-Corruption Act, abuse of office, improper accounting, corruption, among others. Then when we look at the statement of the investigating officer, we have the statement of the suspect's pen statement. It's here that I have been the district engineer in Mbare 5 years. This is Kwagara Alfonso, 38 years. Since I took over the duties of a district engineer, I have done my work very well until that cow came in. He started fighting me because he's a very difficult and greedy man. Everyone knows him. The man is just a difficult man. About those roads, I have photos of work being done. I have all my reports. I accept that at some point the tractor loader broke down and we could not take the excavator and graders to the site that were to be completed. Everyone has paid. No one is demanding anything from the district. I have my progress reports, the cow and all the requisitions. That man hates me. He even took my girlfriend. He wants to finish me. I'm not a thief. I'm an innocent man. Then the investigating officer that I wish to state that I received instructions from OCC ID Mbare to investigate an old file formally. This case was reported by Musana the cow. I booked onto the office of the district administrator of Mbare with a team. We recorded the statements of the complainant, the lobby driver, and the road inspector, and later that of the suspect. We received information that the fraud was with respect to road works. We also forwarded the many documents to the auditor for analysis. According to the audit report, the fraud occurred between the year 2016 to April 2019. The complainant said that he formally instructed an auditor to cross-check what he sought to be a discrepancy during the site visit. Complainant revealed that the financial year 2017-19 Mbare district obtained funds for infrastructure development from the government of Uganda. The district engineer is the one responsible for supervision of the grading and upgrading of 2 roads in the district, namely Busuno Road and Nomasi. Money was purportedly disbursed to Roadmax Construction Company at about 530 million. The audit report and site inspections report by Ministry of Local Government show that the road was not created or opened up as per the government funding program. All equipment was at the government yard for repair during the period of the alleged works. I recovered the audit report from the auditor that the requisition vouchers for the fuel, payment slips for allowances, the site staff. I also recovered requisitions with the forged signature of the cow, and I presented the same to the Department of Forensics. I have the handwriting report. The suspect was not reporting to work and claimed to be unwell. I kept trying his phone line until we tracked him, and I recorded the print statement. So basically, those are the facts. Tasks: peruse a legal memorandum advising the supervisor on whether or not to prosecute. So basically, here we're going to be identifying offenses, and here we're looking at offenses under the Anti-Corruption Act to include corruption, abuse of office, fraudulent accounting. We can also include forgery, among others. Supposing that you find evidence adequate to necessary court papers that are necessary to proceedings in the court. So basically, here we're going to do a charge sheet because we are still in the magistrate's courts. We shall be drawing a charge sheet. Assuming that the accused person has been produced in court for the first time in a role play as a magistrate to demonstrate the process of taking a plea of not guilty. So basically, the process of plea taking is governed by the case of Dan versus Al. So you'll be asking the person, what's your name, which language do you understand. Then after you read the facts and the ingredients of the case, then the person is required to plead on each ingredient of the case and then plead the whole offense. So assume that the cases have been fixed for hearing before Magistrate Grade 1 and the accused has pleaded not guilty. In a mock trial, read the evidence in chief of the complainant and auditor and tender in the exhibit of the auditor report. So basically, when you're reading the evidence in chief of the complainant, my Lord Counsel Peter for the appearing for the state, and we are ready to read the evidence of prosecution witness number 1. And then, my Lord, I pray that the witness be allowed to take stand. So when the witness takes stand, the witness is administered oath first. Then after that, can you please tell this honorable court your name? Where were you on this date? What happened? So just like that, helping him or her to tell the story. The Auditor General, the same thing. And then after, you tender in the exhibit. Imagine that you have been retained as counsel for the defense by way of demonstration, cross-examine the auditor. So you have to understand that in cross-examining the auditor, you ask leading questions. Questions that must be answered with a yes or no. You said on this date you worked. Yes. And you found out that there was some discrepancies between what they had reported and what was on ground. Yes. So basically, that's how you cross-examine. You must make sure that your answers require a yes or no. Assuming that you are the Chief State Attorney in Bari, that accused has already taken plea in court, but you come to the conclusion that it is not in the public interest, proceed with the prosecution of the accused with the aid of the law and proper documentation, demonstrate the process you would follow to terminate desirable proceeding. So basically, here we call it the not prosecute, or the powers of the DPP to withdraw these proceedings. Of course, from Article 120, we can see the DPP has powers to withdraw cases in public interest and also have the no prosecute. So basically, that's what we shall be looking at. ESCO issues, avoiding corruption, making sure that you respect human rights. The police should also respect not to torture people or suspects, among others. So basically, that was it for workshop 1. But in case you want a discussion group where you can receive adequate notes, please reach me on the number on this profile. Students pay monthly subscription fee. Then you can be among those students where we have comprehensive discussions, and then we issue notes after the discussion. Workshop 2, the aim of these workshops are to aid, develop the ability to advise and when necessary direct the police on whether or not to prefer any charges. B, develop the ability to prepare the relevant court documents for trial. C, develop the ability to prosecute or defend cases and applications before magistrates courts. Develop the ability to exercise the supervision powers of the chief magistrates court, identify and deal with ESCO issues. At the end of the training session, students should be able to prepare legal memorandum advising the DPP and where necessary direct the police on whether or not to prefer any charges. prepare the relevant court documents ready for trial, exercise the supervisory powers of the chief magistrate, prosecute and defend cases and application of magistrates courts, identify and address issues. Statement of the complainant, Asidiri Paulson, that on 1st January 25 at about 10 hours I was on a duty with DCT Bituru Sondoro. While on duty we saw a motor vehicle speeding carrying on very luggage heading toward Oraba. I stopped the motorist, and when I asked him why he was speeding, he could not answer. I realized that he was trying to evade the police checkpoint by trying to hide beside the trailer that was just ahead of him. I asked the motorist and his passenger to identify themselves. The passenger was known as Bradria. I later got to know that he is a cross-border businessman, he is a Ugandan national. He was holding Ugandan passport number. The driver introduced himself as Joki Chan. I and my colleagues escorted the duo to Arua police station with their luggage. When I conducted a search of the luggage in his purple suitcase, I recovered 200 Morocco maize, commonly known as the wrong-footed rat. I searched the suspects. I did this in presence of Atimango. So they had species wrong fat mice. A further search related to the suspect had an Alpha combat pistol underneath one of Dadria's bags, disguised in another container with perfume. So basically here is unlawful possession of firearms and also possession of prohibited species. So basically those are the two offenses we can identify. Statement of the witness, statement of the suspect. I wish to say that I left my home on 1st January 25, heading to Butembo to buy some stock for my hotel. I own a shop and a hotel in Arua. I was getting late for my appointments in Arua in DRC. While I was preparing to leave the Arua city, a man who introduced himself as Francios said that he was Congolese from Bakuvu. He told me that he wanted to do business with me in Uganda. He then that he had come to Uganda only briefly, and he said that he wanted to evaluate my current business engagements. We moved together up to Vara. Then he said that he had forgotten something at his hotel room in Arua. He said that he was heading to Vancouver in DRC. I had my own luggage, and we had in fact slept in the same hotel. I hired a taxi to Oraba to the border, and then the man told me that he forgot something in the hotel. We left the taxi and I had to get another special taxi. Francios requested me to carry his luggage as he returned to the hotel. He said that he would meet me at the border. My bag did not have those creatures and pistol. The luggage belongs to Jean Francios, even though he did not leave me with any other identification or contact. We came together and I only know him by face. That man has used me. Yeah, that man has used him. That's what they always say. I wish to say that on first suspect investigating officer, I wish to say that on 1st January 25 I was allocated the file to manage the investigations therein. On the same day, I conducted a search on the suspect's luggage with names Ugandan national. I was in the presence of a number of other people as indicated in the search certificate. On searching the bag, I found many creatures that were informed to be fat mice and long-footed rats. The suspects were suspected to be an illegal possession of the creatures. I marked the gauge suitcase in exhibit. I also marked a pistol for one drive. The total weight of the exhibit was 80.9 grams. So proceed tasks. One is prepare legal memorandum and also advise the police on the areas for further investigations. So basically here the offenses we are looking at is possession of a firearm, possession of prohibited species, among others. Then assuming that you find the evidence plausible and you decided that the court action is needed, draft the necessary documents. We shall draft the charge sheet. Assume that the accused has retained you as counsel and tells you that he is willing to admit one of the offenses referred and that he is willing to take sentence of 5 months and a fine. Proceed to advise on how he might achieve this. So we shall look at pre-bargaining rules. Provides for a pre-bargaining argument where the accused wants to concede. That's one of the options we can utilize. Then for assuming the position of the magistrate grade 1 of Vora in Arua district, the accused has pleaded guilty by way of role play. Proceed to record the plea of guilty, convict and sentence the accused on the charges preferred in one above. So basically, you see, once the accused person is aligned in court, and then you take him or her through the process of pre-taking, which we looked at in Adan versus Allah. It's still the same process. Once the person properly pleads to the ingredients as well as the case, then what you proceed to do at that very point, is to do what is to convict him, and then after convicting, we do what we call a loctus, mitigating aggravating factors from the state as well as mitigating factors from the prosecution, and then you sentence. So assume that you have been retained as an advocate in private practice. You have learned that the accused has been and is still on remand of Arua prisons since he last appeared in court. Advise him on the remedy available to him and rule in magistrate's court and must proceed with the achievement remedy. So basically here we apply for bail, and you know that my lord, counsel for the suspect or the accused, and my lord, I proceed under Article 23(6) to apply for bail. My lord, the grounds for grant of bail have been discussed in the case of Uganda versus Chiza VSJ, to include a fixed place of abode, my lord, a fixed place of abode and substantial securities. My lord, under Article 28 of the Constitution, the accused person is presumed innocent until proven guilty. My lord, the accused person has been able to produce substantial securities, including his uncle who works in public service, as well as his brother who is a well-known businessman in the area. My lord, the copies of local council identification cards as well as national IDs are hereby attached. My lord, therefore we pray that you grant the accused bail. Then the next question is, assuming that the grade 1 magistrate has granted your client a cash bail of Uganda shillings 35 million, and in addition also ordered to deposit his passport and the land title in the court, your client is so disgruntled and informs you that he cannot afford the bail sums. So we have the case of Andrew Mwenda. Andrew Mwenda discusses where you have excessive bail terms. You write a letter to the chief magistrate to review those bail terms, and then they can review those bail terms, and you'll be able to be given bail terms that you can afford. Assume that the case has been fully heard and the accused person has been convicted, demonstrating in form of role play the possible mitigating and aggravating factors before sentencing. So when we talk about aggravating factors, these are the factors of the prosecution that you are asking that the court grants the maximum sentence, because he's a serial offender, he did not show any signs of remorseful, he was very bitter in cross-examination, and this is a rampant crime, and we need to protect the environment. Then you pray for a maximum sentence. Mitigating factors: the accused has a family he's taking care of, the accused was very remorseful, the accused pleaded guilty, we pray for a lighter sentence. That's basically how you go about that. Assume that you are the chief magistrate of Arua and you receive a complaint involving the convict. Upon perusal of the court file, you discover that on 10th, the accused person appeared before the magistrate's grade 1 at your station and pleaded guilty to the charges disclosed therein, and was sentenced a fine of 30 million and 25 years imprisonment and daily lashes of the cane while in prison, and remission in order to curb the rampant social wildlife. These are the practical steps that will take to address the complainant regarding the said case file. So we are all aware that, of course, in the case of Simon Chamanywa versus Uganda, he challenged this practice of grant canes the prisoners, and of course the court said that this was unconstitutional, that was contravening Article 24 of the Constitution. And of course the Chief Magistrate's Court, this person fine of 30 million and 25 years imprisonment. A grade 1 magistrate does not have powers to do that. If you read section 161 of the Magistrates Courts Act, so he acted beyond his power. So basically what you do as chief magistrate, you write a letter to the registrar of the criminal division of the High Court, who then reviews this sentence. So it's really a formal letter to the registrar of the criminal High Court division. So what issues arising from the scenarios? One, avoiding conflict of interest. We have the case of Patricia Ojangare versus Uganda, where we see that the lawyers were part of the team that made a report that amounted to the dismissal of the accused person, but now the lawyers were trying to do what? To represent the accused person in court. So the court said that there was conflict of interest and therefore you couldn't proceed. We also have, of course, doing proper due diligence. We have the case of Chimangozi versus Kapchorwa Referral Hospital, and this person, what happened here, the person sued the hospital, and the hospital was not the proper body to be sued, instead of the trustees of the hospital, and the case was dismissed. And we have other things like the DPP should only act in interest of the public in case going to withdraw matter. We also have other things, of course, like the police not torturing suspects, among others. So case law. So basically that is for workshop 2 also. I'm looking at here the Constitution, Article 23, liberty, Article 28, right to fair hearing, 120, powers of the DPP, 1291 and D, the courts of judicature in Uganda, 212, functions of the police, 254, Uganda to be one of the parties in criminal proceedings. Then I'm seeing the cases here, the cases which we can see. I see Foundations for Human Rights versus Attorney General Lucas Clascas on bail. Basically, they are saying that the exceptional factors, it's not a necessity for one to prove exceptional as factors for one to be granted bail. It's a Lucas Clascas case on bail, should read that. Also, DPP versus Chiza Besigye unreported. Very Lucas Clascas case also on bail. I think this is the judgment where Benjamin Odechi is saying that the evidence that was abused by the prosecution cannot even convict a chicken thief. This rape case of 2006, I think this comes from this one. Then also see the case of Abdallah Sulaiman versus Al. We also have the case of Uganda versus Mbazira Brian on powers of the DP to withdraw charges. We also have Orenga George versus Uganda. I think it's on corruption, the judgment of Gidudu J. So these are very, very good cases. So, but in case you want to have these cases summarized for you, you just come and you be part of the mentorship group. You know, if you don't have time, then you can buy our time and be your research assistants. Please contact me on 075 67 284. That's our WhatsApp number. You can contact me, and if you can afford the monthly subscription fee, then you can buy our time, and then we help you to do this research. And also we have discussions on weekends, discussions on both workshop 1 and workshop 2. Workshop 1 on Saturday, workshop 2 on Sunday, and then after that we issue out notes immediately, which helps you to begin the week a step ahead. So please, if you have liked this video, like, subscribe, share and comment, so as you don't miss any button, because we shall continuously analyze these workshops up to the end of this year and the years coming. So please, thank you for watching and listening to us. We don't take it for granted. We wish you a blessed week ahead.